Hey everybody, I'm Dave with Growing the Home Garden. This video is going to be a bunch of different things that are going on in my garden. I don't really have one specific topic to talk about at the moment. Usually I try to do videos that talk about one subject, whether propagating a certain plant or whatever it might be. But today it's going to be several different things. So I just thought I'd share with you some of what's going on around here, and so you can take a look. First, let's start off with this. This is a jar with some willow cuttings in it. Check those out. There's lots of good roots going in there. But like any kind of plant propagation project, you have some things that work out really well and others that don't. So I'm going to put that down there for a second. There are two types of willows that I put in this container. This one here, you can see the top foliage on that did not do so well, but it actually did root. So we do have a success there. That is a Salix integra Japanese dappled willow. Another type that I have in here that rooted pretty good was this one right here. This is more of a tree form. It's a green weeping willow, and you can see the foliage there did really well. So it looks like really all of these had some rooting happen to it, even though the foliage looks kind of dead and like it wasn't going to make it. They actually turned out okay. So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll cut back some of these before I put them in a pot so that they'll regrow new leaves and branches from those little points right there. Those points are called nodes, and that's where most of the rooting hormones are and where they'll put out a leaf or possibly even roots. And you check out down here, look at the points where the willows actually rooted. If you can focus on that right here, that is right there at a node. Okay, so that's something important to pay attention to. It rooted very well from a node, so it's a nodal cutting, N-O-D-A-L, nodal. But you can check out all those roots there. They do pretty good. Willows are extremely easy to propagate just in a glass of water. Just replenish the water as it gets used up, and you will have roots, usually in about a week to 10 days or so. Another thing I did recently was I put together this little planter. Now this is an old pot that's been around for a while. Planter pots are great though for putting in multiple types of plants. And this is all heucheras or coral bells. So these over here on the left side are seed grown that are doing really well. You can see here, I believe they probably came from Southern Comfort or something else as a parent plant. I didn't really keep up with it. I just kind of like the heucheras, so I'm not really worried about the cultivar or the variety and stuff, as long as they look pretty cool. And they all turned out really nicely. I really like the color on them. These here are a couple new additions that I purchased just a little while ago to add a little variety to the seed stock. So this one's kind of a dark purplish color with a little bit of veining on it, and this one is a little bit more of a peach color with that veining on it too. And so I put those just in this planter all together right outside our front porch. And here's another pot I put together with more of the heucheras. These are seed grown varieties that we grew here from seed. That's how it goes. And you can check in the description. I'll put a link to that post on growing heuchera from seed. It's extremely easy to do. Just save some seed, sow it, and you grow it. It's real simple, but check out that video. Here's some of the front garden bed. This is Southern Comfort right here. Check out the size of those leaves. Those are really big shaped leaves. You can see here I've got a walnut tree that's kind of creeping up and in around these hostas right there. Now, one thing I'm disappointed about, and I may have shared this in a previous video, but right here, this is a Benishishihanga Japanese maple. And unfortunately, it does not look like it's supposed to. It's supposed to look like that right there. But instead, they've gone green. So I need to get in here and trim that out. I think I shared that on the garden tour post video that I did a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to share this tree with you. This is a Kusa Dogwood. Cornus Kousa would be the botanical name before they change it to something else that I can't even remember right now. But we're going to call it Cornus Kousa for now because that's what it's been forever. But you check that out. It is a Korean dogwood that blooms probably 3 to 4 weeks after our regular Cornus Florida, the American native type of dogwoods bloom. But it looks really nice. A lot of times they use this as root stock for the different varieties of dogwoods. I also wanted to show you this amazing rose bush. It is just about to be done with the first bloom cycle on it. I've noticed a lot of the petals are starting to fall off, but it just looks amazing. It's a knockout rose, and we've had it in this spot for a while. The only thing I've ever done to it is prune it. I've never fertilized it, never done anything special for it, never treated it for any kind of diseases or pest problems or anything. And it has done fantastic. It just needs an occasional pruning and it does well. And here's something really cool to check out. The blueberry bushes are loaded in little green berries, which I'm going to need to get some bird netting on these so that we don't end up losing the entire blueberry crop, because that's inevitably what happens. The birds come out here, they eat everything that could possibly be of any value to us. Now over here is a bit of a bed that I need to start doing some work on. And inevitably what happens is you get some volunteer plants in a garden bed. Like for example, this one here, it's a tulip poplar tree, very recognizable by these owl-shaped leaves. I always think of them looking like kind of an owl. I don't know why, but I've got two of them sitting here. And if I can transplant them, that's great. I've got a spot I can put them over on our other property, but for right here, it's not a big deal to me if I just pull those out. They sow very rapidly. And a lot of times you have to calculate what you're going to keep and what you're going to get rid of, because you only have so much space. Now, I was told once by a hosta person that tulip poplars are great to plant if you need to get fast-growing shade, because they grow several feet a year and can quickly shade out an area. So in some cases, they might be worth saving and transplanting. In this case, I probably am not going to worry too much about that. And this right here, this is a redbud seedling that's underneath this yew that probably just sprouted from some seeds from the neighboring trees over here. And it is not something I'm going to be able to save, because redbuds get these really tough tap roots to pull out. And in this case here, it's going to be a hard one to dig because it is so far down underneath that tree to get to. So I will probably just snip it and not worry too much about it. I've got several other redbud trees that have grown that I've been able to transplant, so I'm not worried about this one particular one. Now guys, this is our green stalk planter, which I want to get planted with some tomatoes to kind of sprawl and do some maybe lettuce and kale and stuff like that in it. But it's got some more volunteers. That is a volunteer crepe myrtle, which I may transplant. And then over here, I've got several volunteer birch trees coming up. So I'm probably going to transplant as many of those as I can, see what can survive from that. I find those worth doing because they are really cool trees. I love the bark, and I've got some places for them. But again, if you don't have a spot for it, it's okay to just pull them out and treat them as if they're weeds, because after all, you know, a weed is simply a plant in a place that you don't really want it. And you never know, maybe you have somebody who wants a few extra trees that you can hand off. So just some thoughts to think about. Little plant right here, you can see it's taken some sun scald damage. That's mostly because we've had it indoors, because it is an avocado tree. And I have found that the absolute best way for me to grow an avocado tree is to throw the pit into the compost bin and pull it out later. I don't know why that works, but I've gotten so many avocado trees, and I never even worry about the method where you split it open, use the toothpicks and the water and stuff. Just stick the seed in a pot and it's going to grow. After all, that's the way they do it in nature. They just grow from the soil. They don't have somebody sticking it in a jar and sticking toothpicks on it in Mother Nature. That just doesn't happen. So it does very well just growing it in a pot with some water, you know, normal watering, that kind of thing. And in this case here, this one actually did come from our compost bin. So just pay attention to what the leaves look like, and you can get your own avocado tree out of it. Now, chances are it's never going to actually produce any avocados, and it's going to have to be kept indoors in our area, but hey, it's fun to grow stuff sometimes. And here, these will recover. I probably need to give it a little bit more of a sheltered location from that sun scald so it can stop happening. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this little look around at some of the random stuff in my garden. Just a hodgepodge video with some different elements in it. If you want to check out any of those videos like willow cuttings or heuchera, growing them from seed, look in the description. I'll have some links posted there. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Please hit the like button, subscribe. We'll see you later.